NFLPA Executive Director Demaurice Smith now joins me. Demaurice, we appreciate your time. It's been a little bit busy for you these days, and now you have COVID-19 outbreak going on. How are you advising your players right now?
You know, right now, the first and foremost, we're talking to them about how to manage, like most of the country, being shut in, making sure they have the right resources for both themselves and for their families. Certainly the talk turns to football a little bit, but yesterday we had a conference call with about 80 to 100 players and spouses with our medical director, just kind of going through information that they need and information that they were seeking about how to manage what the entire country is going through right now.
You know, most all sports have been canceled, so there's really nothing for people to go out there and watch and try to find a way to unite. But the one thing the NFL has been able to do is they've been able to move forward with free agency. And right now they're moving forward with the NFL draft starting on April 23rd. What are your thoughts on the progression and for fans to kind of look forward to that and just the league trying to keep it to its schedule?
Yeah, I think that we certainly had a lot of conversations about the league year, conversations about the draft. We've been working with the league closely about what's in the best interest of the country and what's in the best interest of not only our current players, but prospective players. It was the smart decision not to have the draft occur in the normal scenario where you have large crowds and certainly a number of athletes there. I think it makes sense to go forward with it because for those players who want to know what teams they're going to be with, for those players who are slotted in the draft system as prospective draftees, it's good for them. I do think that first and foremost, our thoughts have to be with what's in the best interest of our community. And then, at the end of the day, it's only football. We try to slot it in and make sure that our business and our sport can continue, but only if it's safe for both our athletes and for the community.
You know, typically there's a big gathering for draft night. This year, Vegas was going to go all out. And, players get excited for that. They get their outfits. They want to make sure they look sharp. And it's the beginning of the next step of their careers and dreams come true. It's going to be so different this year. A lot of players naturally choose to stay home. Everybody now has to stay home. Right. What are you doing to advise the potential draftees?
Well, for us too, it's a major change in our schedule. Rookie premiere for us starts on that Monday before the draft actually occurs on that Thursday. We generally have all of the folks who are going to be there for the draft for 3 days, getting them ready not only for the draft, but introducing them to the business of football. So we will be coming up with other ways to do that. Obviously, it will be happening remotely. We've been in touch with the agent community in order to make sure that we can be responsive to some of those players' needs. And at the same time, trying to figure out what we will be doing with the league on virtual workouts, because obviously this has impacted OTAs and other camps that they would be having.
Yeah, right now you don't know when and if OTAs go off. What's going to happen with training camp or really when the season begins? How are you preparing and seeing this all playing out?
Well, first and foremost, we've got the best and the brightest experts working with us. In the same way that we formed our own committee back in 2010 to advise us on concussions. I made the decision to retain experts, infectious disease experts, epidemiologists to advise us on how to go forward with making the right decisions that are in the best interest of our players and their families. To answer the question as simply as possible, we're going to be relying on them and what's going on in the country to decide what the best course of action is. I know that everybody's excited about getting together for football. I know that certainly fans are thinking about what that looks like. But first and foremost, our job is to make sure that our community and our country is safe. And then after that, we'll try to figure out how to fit football into something that is truly unique and novel.
Do you see the football season starting as scheduled? And there's talks now, if it does, that maybe playing the games without fans.
I think right now there are certainly a number of contingencies and things that might occur in the future. We're sitting here today, a few days into the 1st of April, where we just don't know. I've seen and certainly read about fanless sports. We are closely following what the other sports are doing right now as they make contingency plans. I think it's hard, if not impossible, to make concrete projections about what things might look like 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. I think the country is in desperate need of good leadership right now to make sure that we halt the spread of the virus, that we try to make sure that we are doing everything to make the peak of this outbreak happen as quickly as possible so that we go through a declining rate of infection. And that should be the focus. When that happens, I think that'll give us a clue or insight about how we go forward in the business of sports. And, today I'm lucky enough to be working here with the folks at Medium Rare to deliver food to people who are shut in. Right now there's a lot of things that are really important. And while football is certainly on the front burners for a lot of people, you and I both know that people are impacted by this in very serious and dramatic ways. And I think the extent to which we can respond to them first and get to football second, third, fourth, fifth, that'll be fine.
I know Medium Rare, a local community in Washington, D.C., they've been very much on the forefront early on, making sure that they could deliver food to the elderly that couldn't go to the restaurants and couldn't get it. And now really nobody can. So you yourself are taking time to make sure that meals get out to those that can't get them, and that goes on. But there's a lot of players around the league that are also making sure that they're getting involved. Your reaction when you see players step up like that?
Look, whether it's Drew or others who are helping out in their local communities, I just love the fact that for virtually all of our players, they're a part of the community that they live in, a part of the community that they grew up in, and many of them are connected to the communities where they went to college and where they play. And that's when you truly see the best out of people. I think one thing that certainly has occurred is you and I watch what's developing in social media. Sure, there's always going to be people who have some gripe about something, but I'm always inspired by the people who have chosen to be selfless instead of selfish. And they're working to make sure that their community is better off as we all fight through this. And to me, that's exactly who our guys are, and I'm proud of them.
Football is basically all about structure, going throughout the weeks, going throughout their workout regimen, going throughout their diets, their meal plans. In this time where they can't be where that structure is there for them, how can you assist in that?
Yeah, assessment's tough, and thankfully we have a team of people at the NFLPA whose job it is to work with our players, not only with respect to things in football, but also how we can be a resource to them for their families. We are working with the league right now in talks about how to structure virtual workouts. That's something that sounds easy, but like anything else in this business, isn't easy. But I'm sure that we're going to work through and come to some sort of understanding about that. Structure is incredibly important, and we're also thankful to have our NFLPA, our new president, J.C. Treader, involved in working with our executive committee and our board about how to make sure that we're providing the resources to our players, whether it's equipment or access to information. We're going to continue to have our conference calls with our medical director, and we will probably supplement his advice with other experts, whether it be mental health or other folks involved in providing what our players and their families will need.
A lot of people at home they're looking for hope. They're looking for an escape. They're looking for something to kind of get behind. Typically sports is that. The idea of having a football season, I know we kind of discussed not maybe having fans there. Is there, though, a certain benefit to trying to at least get the games, even if the stadiums aren't full?
Well, I certainly am a fan, and like everybody else out there. But, whether it was being a fan of basketball or being a fan of baseball or being a fan of hockey, I'm certainly a huge fan of Maryland lacrosse, of course. All of that got canceled. And those things got canceled because it was in the public's best interest. And I think that while football certainly has a strong and meaningful place in American culture, whether it's played in high school, played in college, or played on this level, first and foremost, we have to make decisions that are in the best interest of the public and in the interest of the players. And when we can do that, I know that there's going to be a group of people who are going to love to put football on a field. So there's a lot of considerations that have to be made, and certainly a lot of that is going to depend on certainly whether people are doing their best to slow the spread of this virus.
I know everybody, the most important thing is to stay safe. It really is bigger than football. When it just comes to you, you mentioned lacrosse. I know your son plays there at the University of Maryland. He's home now because he doesn't have lacrosse season going on.
Yeah.
What is it what is it like in the Smith household right now?
I think they've probably never seen Dad around this much in probably 20 years. They're probably hoping Dad gets sent away pretty soon. What's great, for one, Alex, I'm not sure we've had him home for spring break since 6th grade because he was always playing lacrosse. It's fun to have the kids back. I can be a selfish dad and have my family around. A lot of family dinners, a lot of cooking at home. But also, my dad turned 90 yesterday. My parents had their 58th wedding anniversary. So to be home for that, even under tough circumstances, I'm thrilled to have our family. I'm thrilled that, we're healthy and safe. And I think that as a number of families are going through things that are a lot tougher than the Smiths are going through, our hearts and our prayers are with them. And my wife hasn't run out of puzzles yet, so.
I haven't brought those out yet, but I know they're coming. Soon you're going to just see me posting nothing but puzzles being done.
I'm not a puzzle guy. Yeah, I know.
Your kids are all athletes. What can you tell them to do to stay, and what workouts can you put them through in order to stay in shape?
Well, they're in far better shape than me. So whether it's the dumbbells, the burpees outside, dragging weights across the yard, chasing the dog, they're getting after it. And so, we're a family that takes sports seriously. We're slightly competitive in our family. So everybody's out there, everybody's running. It's a beautiful day in DC. So I got the first workout into the day, and Alex was headed to the gym right after me. So look, we're playing a lot of basketball. I'm a little sore. They're much better at it than I am. So, look, it's a lot of family time together, and I'm thankful for that. And I know that there's a lot of families out there struggling, and all of us are working to get sports back. But, right now, let's try to make sure folks are safe, and you're doing a great job, and the people with you are doing a great job under tough circumstances. And for all the people who, would normally be working in studios and in restaurants, you and I both know there's a lot of people out of work. And, we're thrilled to be able to try to help folks who are shut in. But, my heart goes out to a lot of people who are falling on tough times right now.
Well, we can't wait for businesses to be back open again soon, hopefully. When you are preparing my order for medium rare, please, medium rare is how I like my steak. I want extra fries and extra secret sauce.
You're going to have to get both, because by the time I get to you, you're going to have half the amount of fries and maybe a piece of steak. But
don't be eating my fries, Dee. Don't be eating my fries.
A guy's got to eat.
And then if you do, here's the thing. You have to do that whole push the car challenge. Have you seen that yet?
I have. You know what's not going to happen?
No,
maybe I'm going to push the toy car. The toy car. I'll push the toy car.
Fair enough. We appreciate your time. We know you're doing some important work right now. We thank you very much, Demaurice, and we'll check back in with you later as this progresses.
100%. Always good to see you, Julie.